In this video, we will look at using learner choice boards, which are created on Google Docs, as a strategy for implementing Universal Design for Learning or UDL in any classroom setting. So basically, what is a learner choice board? And a learner choice board is just basically 6 grids made in Google Docs, and this is just in a table format. Each grid represents a different method of which a student can showcase their learning. So these grids could contain a non-negotiable task which requires students to be assessed in a particular way. For example, in this case, they have to write an essay. But their learning pathways might look different, and their learning strategies might also differ from one person to another. So grids A to E are different learning activities that students can choose upon that best showcase their own learning. So there might be a non-negotiable task that has to be completed at the end of the learning. But students can also choose different learning activities such as an infographic, a podcast, a video, speech writing, or report writing. So a learning choice board just allows a little bit more variety in there, and students can basically showcase their learning in whatever format that suits them best. The learner choice board is quite good because it fits into the UDL principles. The 3 UDL principles are principles of engagement, representation, and action and expression. The principle of engagement looks at the why of learning, so it offers options and supports to stimulate motivation and sustain enthusiasm for learning. So within this particular example, the Learner Choice Board covers different aspects of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So the why of we are learning about these goals is because it impacts everyone on the planet, and everyone has a responsibility to attain these goals. The principle of representation involves presenting information in different ways to support and access and understanding for students. So looking at the what that we are learning. So the different formats in this case in a choice board can include podcasts, articles, and videos. And the last one is action expression, which is the how of learning. So offering options and supports to all students so they can all create, learn, and share in different ways. So in this case, they might all have an assessment as an essay at the very end, but they can create infographics, podcasts, speeches, report writing, or videos in whatever format that they want to showcase their learning. So how do you actually go about to make a learner choice board? So as you can see, this choice board here is made in Google Classroom. And in Google Classroom, you can make a copy of this choice board for each individual student so you can see exactly what tasks that they are going to complete. So in this learner choice board, you have a non-negotiable task, which is to write an essay on the importance of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. But they also have to make reference in their essay to the learning of these goals from the grids A to E as they carry on. So the entire theme is UN development goals, and throughout their whole learning of the whole process, they're going to write an essay at the very end. So choice A is to create an infographic about the awareness of the development goals, and they can choose any 2 goals and provide detailed descriptions, facts, and reasoning for these goals. They also then have to go to Canva and create their design and share it. So I've hyperlinked in here Canva. So if I click on that link, it will open up canva.com for the students to go straight into. In part B, they can create a podcast episode. So again, once they're finished their podcast episode, they can upload their link to Google Classroom. And there's also links in here as well as to how you can create their podcast. If they wanted to watch a video relating to biodiversity and sustainability from the Irish Farmers Journal, I've hyperlinked a YouTube video which just opens up here so students can watch the preview. Once they're finished with the video, they have to answer the questions provided in the worksheet, and the worksheet just pops up here as a separate Google Doc. So students can go into it. They can either open up a preview like this, or they can open up the full screen of the Farmers Journal worksheet, and they can fill out the worksheet like so. So everything in the UDL choice board is hyperlinked with all the tasks the students have to do. Again, there's write a speech here for part D. So write your speech, press here, opens up another Google Doc. Here's an article. So when the students open up this, it opens up an article about podcasting, and there they have to write the report here then on the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So everything is completely hyperlinked. The way I would do this is ask students to maybe choose 2 or 3 different options between A and E, not to complete them all because they'll have to have spent some time on a non-negotiable task. But if you shared this out with each individual student, the first thing I ask them to do is to choose which ones they're going to do. Now, a new feature in Google Docs is a new choice drop down menu. So each grid from A to E has a little drop down menu here. So if you press here, it just says choose. And I've created it where it says yes or no. So if a student is going to create a poster, just say yes. If they're not happy with doing a podcast, I'm going to say no. And again, say here, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say no for the speech, and I'm going to say yes for the report. So just right away, I know, okay, this student prefers to create a poster. They're going to watch the video and answer the questions, and then they're going to read an article and write a report on it. That they don't want to do a speech and they don't want to create a podcast. So it's just quite nice that if you had this for each individual student, you can see that their pathway is very different. So they're going, this student's going from A down to C over to E, and then they're going to do the non-negotiable task. You could also have a Google form evaluation, kind of a evaluation of learning, and at the end of the learner choice board, if you wish. But again, it's completely up to yourself which way. I think it's quite nice just having everything in the one place. Sometimes if it's in Google Classroom as separate assignments, it can get quite messy. If some students are doing the infographics, some students are doing a podcast, etc. So this template is available if anyone wants to use it, and you can modify it to best suit your own topic and best suit the own learning strategies of your own students.